我们见过他的兵器，想不通，像他这样一位神箭手，为何会用这样一张破弓？
Mandarin Chinese. It's the official language of mainland China, spoken by over 1 billion people. Now, if you live in the West, you may hear Cantonese more often, which is a more sing-song sounding form of Chinese spoken in the south of China, and it's normally the prevalent form of Chinese in most Chinatowns.
You speak Chinese?
Cantonese.
If you want to hear the difference, in this next clip, the guy on the right is speaking Mandarin, and the other guy who replies to him is speaking Cantonese.
谁是馆主啊？
You can hear a difference, right? Cantonese has 6 tones, and there's more of a difference between them with low, medium, and high level tones. But Mandarin has just 4 tones with one high level tone and other tones that either go up or down. The tones in Mandarin sound less obvious, but they are still there. In this video, we are going to first explain the tones, show you how to master them, and then once you've learned the tones, you won't sound authentic unless you know the tone changes. Yes, that's right. You think you know them, but then it's like, well, you know all that stuff that you just learned? Well, forget about that, because when this tone goes in front of this tone, it changes to that tone, and you're going to get what I'm talking about in a minute. This is how to master the tones of Mandarin Chinese. So this video will be of help to Chinese learners, but I also intend it to be interesting for everyone, giving you a sense of how a tonal language works, and then at the end, we'll show you a few examples of common Chinese words that most English speakers would know, but pronounce with their correct tones and correct pronunciation. For example, you may have been ordering chow mein all this time in Chinese restaurants, but it's actually supposed to be pronounced chao mian. Don't believe me? Listen to this.
鸡蛋肉丝炒面。
Here's another one Westerners always get wrong.
The latest meeting between Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin in Beijing.
Xi Jinping.
We'll tell you how to accurately pronounce the name of the Chinese leader with the tones later in the video. But first, let's get into it. So here are the tones in Mandarin. The first tone. This is a high level tone, and we will use the word ma to demonstrate. So this would be ma, ma. If you are a guy, be careful not to make this too high. It's not ma, right? Especially if your teacher is female, it's easy to imitate them and go too high with this. When I started university learning Chinese there, and I'd already learned a bit of Chinese with a private tutor before, the professor heard my speaking and immediately said, "You were taught by a woman." And that's because of how high my first tone was. And I was indeed taught by a woman, all right? So be careful with this. You're not an opera singer. Your first tone shouldn't be like this ridiculously high note. No, it's just high relative to your other tones and your normal speaking voice. Ma, ma. All right, moving on. Second tone. This is a rising tone, and you can think of it like how when you ask a question in English, your pitch goes up slightly at the end of the sentence. Like, is this yours? That yours? Yours? It goes up, right? You can also hear this in the Australian accent, where even stuff that's not a question, they go up at the end anyway. They go, I'm Australian. I'm Australian. They're not asking a question, but they still just go up.
I do realise that I'm responsible for my own actions.
I'm responsible for my actions.
In casual speech in Chinese, this is kind of what this tone sounds like. It's just going up quickly, okay? From the middle of your vocal range up to the top kind of meets the first tone. Ma, ma. Of course, if you want to put more emphasis on this word, your second tone may be more pronounced. Like, let me think of an example with this. Like, let's say you were just saying one word, like the name of a book that you were about to start reading. Let's say the philosophical book by the Taoist sage Lao Tzu called 道德经, okay? I'm saying the title of a book as if I was going to start reading it. I'm not just saying one word in passing in the middle of a sentence. So I might want to let my second tone ring out for a bit longer, right? 道德经, okay? Because, you know, I'm kind of saying one thing on its own. Or if I wanted to say the word 不是, okay, it's not, I could say it like this, 不是, okay, quickly. That second tone is really quick, just like, just going up a little bit. Or if I want to really emphasize that I don't agree with you, okay, it's not like that, I could say 不是, okay, a much longer and more emphasized second tone. But when it's said mid-sentence, especially when it's not really emphasized, it's just like going up a little bit at the end of a question in English, okay? The third tone. The third tone goes down from the middle of our vocal range and then it comes back up to the middle. It doesn't go all the way up to where the first tone is, okay? But it goes just down and then back up to the middle. And in some situations, like in 2-character combinations with other tones, it hardly even comes up at all, okay? It just feels like sort of chilled falling tone. We're going to talk about tone changes later. If you want to do it right though, first you need to learn how it sounds when you just say one character on its own with this. It goes down and then it comes back up. And you can practice by moving your chin down and then back up. Okay, so ma, ma. Obviously don't do that all the time, especially when you're speaking with people. You're going to look like a chicken or something. Ma, ma, ma. A word in this tone that you will often hear just said on its own, okay, with no other word directly before or after to cause a tone change, is the word that they often use for yes in Chinese, 好, which it actually means good, but with certain types of questions, you can just reply 好 and it basically means yes.
这样可以吗？
好，好。
Now, one last one. The fourth tone. This is just a falling tone and it's short and sharp. Actually, to me, I don't even necessarily really hear it falling. It's just like a, saying a word with force, okay? I guess it is falling technically, but, the short and abrupt aspect of it is the more noticeable aspect for me. Ma, ma. To practice, you can nod your head downwards. This might help you get the feel of it, that it's going downward and that is short and sharp, right? Ma, ma. But don't do that all the time, okay? Again, you'll end up looking like an idiot. Now in Chinese, there are a lot of verbs that are fourth tone, like 是, the verb to be, or 看, the verb to look, or 会, the verb to be able, etc. This one is probably, in my opinion, the easiest of the 4 to master. Then we have the fifth tone, which, okay, I said there were 4 tones, but now I'm giving you a fifth tone. But we don't really call this a tone because it's just sort of a neutral tone, all right? It's completely unemphasized, sitting at about the middle of your tonal range, okay? So ma, ma, it's like a non-tone. All right, now let's look at some tone changes, and then we will correct the pronunciation of some common words. So when you have 2 or more third tones in a row, you only really pronounce the last one as a third tone. This is really easily observable in the word for hello, 你好, which literally means you good, but it's how they say hello in Chinese, or it's one way of saying it. Now this is 2 third tones in a row, but if you were to say 你好, and then you try to say that fast, 你好, it gets a bit awkward, okay? So they change the first tone to a second tone, 你好. Chinese people probably don't even know that they're doing this unless you're like a language professor or something. It just feels natural to say it this way, so they do it. If you have more than 2 third tones in a row, so 3, for example, like in this word, 展览馆, that means an exhibition center. It's 3 third tones in a row. But you would sound like a complete idiot if you were to try and pronounce all of them, okay? 展览馆. So instead, the first 2 change into second tones, 展览馆. And to go a step further, this specific exhibition center is called Nangang 展览馆, and it's in Taipei, Taiwan. It has the word Nangang, okay, that's a place name before it, and the gang from that word, from that place name, is also a third tone. So if you were going to say it fast in conversation, it's not going to be Nangang 展览馆. It's going to be all second tones with 1 third tone at the end. Nangang 展览馆. That's our first tone change. Let's now look at another one. And if you can do this one, you're really going to sound like a native speaker. When you have a third tone before first, second, or fourth tones, that third tone becomes more chilled, okay? So some people call it like a half third tone, so it kind of goes down, but it doesn't really come up very much at the end. Like the word 喜欢, to like, okay? We're not saying 喜欢. We're not coming all the way back up to the middle after the third tone and then saying another word, okay? We're actually cutting it off, so it hardly comes back up, okay? It goes down, just comes up a very tiny bit, and in some accents, it doesn't even come up at all. But it's still not like a fourth tone, okay? Because it's much more chilled. It's not like a short, sharp tone. That would be 喜欢, okay? It's not like that. It's 喜欢. And this gets even more noticeable when it's followed by a second tone. The 2 kind of blend together. So the third tone just brings you down, and then the next word's second tone brings you back up again, completing a down then up movement. So words like 语言, language, 解决, to resolve, or 果然, as expected. Like these 2 words together have now become a third tone. Here's another tone change. The character 不, meaning not, always changes to a second tone when it is before a fourth tone. And this is very common, since remember we said a lot of verbs in Chinese are fourth tone. So you get 不是 instead of 不是, and 不看 instead of 不看, and 不会 instead of 不会. I think because this word 不 is used so often before a verb, it just sounds easier to say second then fourth than saying 2/4 in a row. Now, there are quite a few more tone changes, but let's now move on to the next section. Maybe if we do a Chinese course on our channel for channel members in the future, we can actually have a video that goes through all the tone changes in detail. And also, you may think that this is a lot to remember, but actually these tone changes have come about because it's just easier to say things like that. Like we said, many Chinese people don't even know these tone change rules because it just feels natural to speak like that. And that's why once you start learning them, you're actually going to feel that it's easier and you're not actively remembering tone changes and implementing them. You're just saying it that way because it's just easier to say. All right, let's now look at how to pronounce some common Chinese words that people in the West probably know with the correct tones. Now, you guys know that I am obsessed with Kung Fu movies. So how do you say Kung Fu properly in Chinese with all the tones? Well, it doesn't begin with a K at all, okay? It's actually Gong Fu, okay? Gong, not Kung. The Gong is pronounced in the first tone, so that's that high level tone, Gong, and then Fu is a neutral tone, okay, just Fu. That character on its own, though, would actually be pronounced Fu in the first, high level tone too, but no one says it that way. It's not Gong Fu, okay, it's just Gong Fu. And this is the same with the word Shifu, which means a master. Could be a Kung Fu master or a master of something else, like an accomplished Buddhist monk. Check out how the Monkey King says it to his master, the Tang monk, in Journey to the West.
Shifu.
So this one is Shifu. It's not Shifu, it's Shifu. As for which characters in two-word combinations are going to be pronounced in the neutral tone, it's always going to be the end character. But as for which words specifically have this, you just need to memorize them, all right? There's no rule that tells you when to do this, okay? Neutral tones, though, are much more common in mainland China, and especially in the Beijing dialect, and they are less common in Taiwan, although there are still words in Taiwan that use them. Now let's look at some more food. We already told you that chow mein is chao mian, all right? Third tone, then fourth tone, and slightly different pronunciation. That means fried noodles, by the way. I'm sure you know that because you order it all the time.
Oh, do you speak Chinese?
Yeah.
Chow mein, sure. Shon mian ma.
Then chao fan is fried rice. Okay, so the word chao means to fry. So this is also third tone and then fourth tone, okay? Chao fan. And now for one of my personal favorites, Beijing kao ya, or Beijing roast duck, or you'll often see this written as Peking roast duck or Peking crispy duck. The bonus with this one is that you get the correct pronunciation of China's capital, okay? Beijing, it's third tone then first tone, and roast duck is actually also third tone then first tone, okay? So it's Beijing kao ya. And talking of Beijing and China's government, let's now look at another one that Westerners often get wrong, the name of China's current leader.
The latest meeting between Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin in Beijing.
Right, so they'll say Xi Jinping, or they'll say it like this.
Before he meets with Xi Jinping.
Xi Jinping, neither of these are right, okay? His surname is Xi, which it starts with X, and the X sound in Chinese, to give you a very basic explanation of this sound, it's like halfway between a sh and a s. So you could literally try this with your mouth. First go sh, and then go s, and then go halfway in between. So it's like sh. It's not all the way to s, it's halfway in between. There you go. So his name would be Xi. And then the next part, his given name, is actually pronounced pretty much how it's written, okay? Jinping. Now, if we add the tones, it's going to be fourth tone, then second tone, Jinping. And if we say the whole thing together, it's going to be second tone, fourth tone, second tone, Xi Jinping. Someone needs to tell that to Maria Bartiromo. Then let's give you one last one. What about feng shui, the art of knowing where and which direction to build your house or how to arrange your furniture?
I don't know if the feng shui in here is off or something.
A lot of Westerners might call this feng shui or feng shui or something, but actually it's pronounced feng shui, the first tone and then the third tone. Feng shui. All right, guys, that is the video for today. I hope you found it interesting, and I hope that even people who aren't actively learning Chinese could also follow along and get some value out of this, even if it's just for fun. If you like our work, please consider joining our channel as a member for $4.99 a month. You're basically buying us a coffee, well, you know, a cappuccino, a specialty drink, but, you know, it really helps us keep going. And since doing content on Chinese culture on YouTube, it's not exactly viral video material, okay? So we do depend on fan support. Membership gets you highlighted comments. So if you leave us a comment, it will be highlighted to us. So if you've asked a question, it's more likely that we will see it and reply to you. We also do currently have one members only video on the channel, but we hope to do more. Of course, you can also still subscribe for free and watch all our public videos as they come out as well. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.